पर भरोसा हो, इरादा ऐसा हो कि वक्त की रफ्तार बदल जाए। जब दिमाग जिसे नामुमकिन कहे, दिल उसे मुमकिन कर दिखाए। लोगों के दिखाए रास्ते छोड़ के हौसला एक नया रास्ता बनाए। जब अलग हो सबसे अंदाज और साथ हो भरोसेमंद आवाज, तो कैसे ना मिले वक्त से पहले किस्मत से ज्यादा।
बिनानी ब्रज बिनानी ग्रुप प्रेजेंट्स आवाज एंटरप्रेन्योर, इन वक्त पर सिर्फ CNBC आवाज पर।
आवाज एंटरप्रेन्योर के प्रस्तुत करता है बिनानी सीमेंट, सदियों के लिए।
CNBC TV 18 and Hindustan Unilever present Lessons in Marketing Excellence Season 5, coming soon.
Presented by Hindustan Unilever Limited.
Who can talk better about leadership than the leaders themselves? Catch the stalwarts of business and sports from across the globe. Share leadership insights with India's most trusted news editor, Rajdeep Sardesai. Gulf Oil presents Leader Talk at these times only on CNN IBN.
I want to talk to you about this whole business of whether Bihar deserves special status, it needs to be given more from the center or not. And you have a piece here by Montek Singh Ahluwalia in the book, and he talks about this business of balancing regional diversity. Do you believe that there is a case at this point in time for Bihar to be awarded special status? We know about the legacy issues, we know about what happened post-independence with the freight equalization policy and so on and so forth. So the systematic decline of Bihar is well documented and articulated. But do you believe today, beyond the sort of political convenience, there is a case for Bihar to be awarded special status?
I think there's a very strong economic case, and when the Raghuram Rajan committee report, to which we have referred to, completes its work on developing a composite development index, which they have been tasked to do so by the finance minister, I'm quite convinced that it will appear that as compared to national average, Bihar in terms of accepted development parameters would be at the bottom. And therefore I think that the need for differential and differentiated treatment in terms of devolution of resources, in terms of an enabling fiscal policy which can help private investment come in, I think that's something on which there is a very strong case.
Do you believe beyond the economic case there is a political case today for Bihar to be awarded special status?
I'm arguing it from the viewpoint of economic logic, of course leaving aside the politics of the case, but I think that there is a very strong economic logic. You cannot leave 115 million people in a state where, as compared to national averages, they are at the rock bottom.
I think there is a strong case as an Indian citizen, if I may say, because equity is an important consideration. That's one reason. The point you were making, Shane, that namely that it's not how could you ever sustain this expectation? Well, if there is a dynamism is it in India's interest that Bihar make good use of that dynamism and proceed forward fast? Yes. The fact that things are moving, that's not an equity argument, that's an efficiency argument. Is there a case for putting your money more on places where things are happening, radically changing? Yes. So as an Indian citizen, and maybe even a world citizen, and a British citizen would agree, I would say there is a strong political and economic case for having that kind of a priority. And I think this is a wonderful moment. I think one has to bear in mind that on one side, just as optimism based on success, and any success at any moment is so far so good, is very constructive and dynamic. A disappointed expectation could put you back for a very long time. But given the optimism, given the possibility of change that's been identified, given the fact that those things which are good for human well-being mainly better education, better healthcare, are also very good for economic growth, which also Bihar needs. I think that there is a story here, which is a kind of, in a mini scale, captures a larger story in India, but in a more extreme form. So I'm basically optimism. The main thing to do, as we used to say in school, don't muff it. And the possibility of muffing it is quite great.
But I want to take that. How could he muff it? How could he muff it?
Yeah, let me go to that in just a moment, because what I wanted to do is underline the case for backing Bihar. There's a poverty case. If you've got a very poor place that's showing real potential, then that could be the most effective way to reduce poverty in the nation as a whole. The second is equity and equality. It really does matter to the harmony of a society if some part of it drops away. It damages the fabric of society. It's not the same argument as poverty, although it's related to it. And the third is the power of the example. If you see somebody start to change, not somebody, more than 100 million people start to change, and it is optimistic, and then somehow it gets lost or squashed, then as Amartya was saying, it is very damaging. So that leaves you, so it seems to me the question of the centre backing Bihar, those three arguments are very powerful.
Do you think the split, in Bihar with the BJP is going to cost Nitish Kumar?
Is going to?
Cost Nitish Kumar and sort of be a challenge as far as his unfinished agenda is concerned?
Give Nitish Kumar the credit of being not only shrewd in terms of economic management, but give him the credit of being also a politically shrewd person who has not only enlarged the ambit of his political power, but done it on the basis of a good development record. So I think that the decision which he has really taken is a well-calculated decision, because he has come to the conclusion that secularism was an aspect with which the party which he heads could not compromise.
So do you see him aligning with the UPA, with the Congress?
No, at the moment I think that it's
and even economically, I mean, they're pretty much on the same page. Whether it's food security or it's the the Aadhaar approach or the entitlement-based approach, the equity-based approach, there seems to be an economic alignment as well.
Well, right now I think that on each individual issue we have the freedom and flexibility, not being part of the NDA, to take decisions as we consider appropriate on the merits of it. Food security was one program about which Mr. Nitish Kumar had spoken 2 years ago, if you recall, before even it became such an important issue for the central government. He had backed the food security bill. He has done so now, although people are now seeing contextually some meaning into it. But food security has been one of the things about which Nitish Kumar has talked about even earlier.
So you're emphasizing the point that I'm making, that economically they are aligned, and it would perhaps make sense for the two to look at going to the polls together.
But there may not be many economic legislative agenda on which they necessarily are on the same page. I think we have yet to see all the economic agenda about which some hint has been given unravel itself, and we will have to take each one of those on the merits of that particular case.
The personality of Nitish Kumar, and again I come back to the comparison which is currently on in the press between Narendra Modi and Nitish Kumar, their styles of governance, personality traits, and so on and so forth. How are you reading that? And we're going to see a lot more of this as we head closer to the election.
Well, I think we probably will, yeah. I think on the first question we're asking, Srini, about if the economic programs are the same, should they not join up? Well, as you know, politics is not just about economics. As an economist, as an economist, I would like to emphasize the importance of economics, but I have to say that. No, I think in terms of being concerned with human life, quality of human life, and not neglecting economic growth, but trying to do it through enhancing the social infrastructure, improving education, healthcare, and so on, which is the way I would like to see India go. I think Nitish fits into that pattern much more easily than a focus which is primarily business profit oriented, good work happening in Gujarat, for example, in physical infrastructure, road and so on. But on the other hand, if you look at the social infrastructure, Gujarat is ahead of Bihar. On the other hand, it's not a high performer. And if you look at the efficiency of business administration is high. Efficiency of social administration comes nowhere near what you will find in Tamil Nadu or Himachal Pradesh or Kerala.
It's a better marketed story.
Well, it's a particular focus they have chosen, but I'm saying that in my analysis, since I think that the issue of growth and development are intimately connected, the sustaining of a high growth model in the long run, short run, you could achieve a lot, depends on having an educated, healthy labor force.
In terms of policy prescription now, and we've already talked about the rate of growth and the unfinished agenda which stares Nitish Kumar, but land, power, the slow pace of urbanization, the slow pace of industrialization. If I would ask you in terms of policy prescription and prioritization, what would you say Nitish Kumar needs to focus on?
Well, there is a section in this book which is called Glass Half Full. And the concluding section of this book says crystal gazing. So I think that if I were to really prioritize in terms, I would say the 4 important priorities. One is improve health and education outcomes, because not merely enrollment, as you said, not merely number of patients visiting the hospital, but I think health and education outcomes. Second, I think completing the unfinished agenda on the physical infrastructure, which is the Rural Roads Program, which will give vastly improved farm incomes as the agricultural produce can be reached to the market very quickly. I think is a second very important. The third, of course, is improved energy availability, which I think is quite crucial for enticing private investment. Or downstream activity. The fourth, of course, Bihar's urbanization pace, as you rightly point out, is Ishar Ahluwalia's very interesting piece in that book brings out. And I think that therefore improving a pattern of urbanization which really does have some of the key features in terms of much better planning than unplanned urbanization, which we are now seeing in Bihar. That is very important. And finally, last but not the least, continue to persevere on improving administrative, police and judicial administration. I think improving the police reform and completing the reform of the police force is critical to ensuring that the law and order situation continues to remain healthy.
Well, gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. As we've discussed, the story is a remarkable one. The glass is half full at this point in time. There is a long, winding road ahead of Nitish Kumar, and hopefully he will be able to address some of the challenges and some of the problems that have been discussed on this program. If you have been, thanks very much for watching. From all of us here on CNBC TV 18, goodbye.
The rupee has dominated the RBI governor's mind space. He has effectively raised rupee rates to keep the dollar from rising. Will he do more of the same on July 30th? Or will he reassure a quick rollback?
Watch me, Lata Venkatesh, as I bring you the credit policy straight from the RBI headquarters, along with instant analysis from economists.